The San Antonio Spurs have made a couple of moves, including, well, Victor Wembenyama is going into his second NBA season. He'll probably play more games, get more minutes. They drafted Stephon Castle, number 4 overall, signed CP3 to a 1-year, $11 million deal, and they traded for Harrison Barnes, who will be a veteran presence for this team. Do you think the Spurs are a playoff team next year?
Okay, I'm going to preface my thoughts on whether or not they're going to be a playoff or a play-in team next season with the fact that I love everything they've done this offseason. Okay. They, like you said, they went out and acquired Chris Paul. They're basically pulling what Oklahoma City did 4 years ago in the bubble, and they're just doing it right now. It's a proven method. Go get Chris Paul to mentor your young guys, and then within a couple years, those young guys are going to take a leap because they've learned so much from Chris Paul. Just ask SGA. He gloats about that one season with Chris Paul and how it changed his game. And now look at him. He's an MVP candidate every year. So I love that acquisition. It's going to teach Wemby. It's going to teach all of their young guards that they have to build around Wemby in the future. Worth every penny, even if he doesn't play much, right? And then they also got Harrison Barnes and the unprotected pick swap for the Kings in 2031. You basically got that stuff for free, for nothing. So how can you hate on that? I mean, they're just getting better now, and they have a future asset that when we're in Wemby's prime, they can use to probably trade for something else. So I love what they've done. However, I look at them as a sleeper tank team. I think that the front office of the Spurs is going to be able to go to Wemby and say, hey, we're giving you Chris Paul, we're giving you Harrison Barnes, we're giving you some veteran experience so that you can have a shot at making the playoffs. But behind the scenes, they're kind of crossing their fingers that they don't. You know what I mean? If Wembanyama is able to take this team that only won 22 games last season with an old Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, who had a very down year and might be washed, to the playoffs, he's got to be on your MVP ballot. That's all I'm saying. So I really look at it as the front office is saving face with their star, saying, hey, we're looking to get better now, when in reality, they're taking the slow train to success.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite thing that you brought up is the fact that they brought in Chris Paul and mostly as a mentor type role, which, like you said, has worked. And they drafted Stephon Castle, number 4. He already has the physical traits. He already has the defense. He has some natural ability, passing, cutting, right? Really needs to work on his shot. Wasn't off guard at UConn, but they want him to be their long-term point guard. And that's what Stephon Castle wanted as well. And when you have Chris Paul already there, I don't really think there's any other better player right now that he could learn from to translate his skills into being a full-time point guard. So, and not only that, they actually got someone who will be able to get Wemby the ball consistently when he does play, which was a big problem for the Spurs last year. So just making that group more cohesive, just overall make that offense flow better, I think is just going to help the development even more of the for their young players. They'll have progression from some of their younger guys, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sochan. But like you said, they made moves mostly to develop, get some older guys out there who can just help the young guys. I also don't think they're a playoff team quite yet. I think they're a play-in team, but the play-in team that loses is where I see the San Antonio Spurs, just because I think Wemby is going to be special enough where they're going to win 35-plus games, but not have that kind of depth overall on their roster to win a playing game.
I'm in complete agreement. There's a lot of people out there that are super high on the Spurs due to these acquisitions, and then, of course, Wemby heading into his second year. I can't completely say that they're not going to make the playoffs because Wembanyama could have just an insane season. He's someone that you can't really put a ceiling on quite yet, just because of how effective defensively he is. Like you said, you got someone that can throw him a post-entry pass, a lost art in the NBA. So I like the moves. This trade that they made for Harrison Barnes made me question what the hell the Bulls are doing, or why. Uh, yeah, the Bulls, because this was all a 3-team trade with DeMar DeRozan, and what did they get in return? The Spurs got the most valuable asset, which is that 2031 pick swap with Sacramento.
Yeah,
Who knows how they're going to be.
The Bulls got Chris Duarte from the Kings and 2 second-round picks. So essentially, what they were saying is, DeMar, please leave us alone.
It's so funny how the team that gave up absolutely nothing in the trade won the trade. I really do believe they got Harrison Barnes. Who cares? That unprotected pick swap in 2031 is going to be valuable. Fox is going to be old. Sabonis is going to be old. DeRozan's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Who knows how good the Kings are going to be in that? That could be a crazy asset that they can use to flip for a quality player when Wembenyama is in his prime. So I love every move. They've somehow been able to pull off let's get slightly more competitive now while also stack assets for the future. This entire offseason, they've been able to do that. But like you said, around that 35 win mark is where I'm comfortable in a loaded West. If they were in the East, they'd probably make they'd make the playoffs. But the West, there's 13 teams that are going to be fighting for that 8th seed.
Yeah, we both think just go let the young guys get older, let the young guys get better, and then use or trade your picks in the future. But I think once 2025, 2026 comes, the Spurs are going to be a fixture in the playoffs again, in 2 years, I should say. Not this upcoming year, but the year after. I think we'll just see them in the playoffs for the next decade plus, for as long as Wemby's there, honestly.
I agree. I'm going to give Wembanyama one more year of whatever. It doesn't matter. He's super young and the team sucks. And then after that, it's going to be, all right, let's start winning some playoff games. The real question I have for you is, in this upcoming season, how high would you draft Victor Wembanyama in a fantasy league? I just think he's going to have a crazy statistical season.
I'd take him top 5 probably. I mean, he gets blocks and boards and points, and I bet his field goal percentage goes up. I think he's got to go top 5.
The 4 kind of consensus are always Jokic, Giannis, Doncic, and Embiid. And then you got SGA, who you can argue there as a fantasy number 1 pick in the first round. After that, I think Wembanyama clears everyone just for blocks alone. I might take him over Embiid because I know he'll play more games.
Also very true. Like, they sat him out a few games last year, but I bet this year he plays more games at least. And Embiid is he's an interesting case. I'm sure we'll get to him when Team USA comes around.
Yeah, okay. That was whatever. We'll get that at the end of the pod. But
oh yeah.
Fouling out in 12 minutes.
Oh yeah. FIBA rules.